Imagine if it was that sort of twist and lock and there was a bean or a grind sort of thing.
Yeah, I'd love to review it just to see. It does look like it fits a lot of the market because we are more mobile now with coffees. G'day guys, Ride and Liam here with Coffee Beans Delivered, a new segment that we're going to be talking on today called, what, Coffee Catch Up?
Coffee News.
Yeah, Coffee News. We're testing a segment that we hope that you guys will find interesting, and if you do, we'll do it more regularly. We're thinking maybe once a week, just to catch you up on the news in the coffee world around the world. This week we are drinking Kenyan coffee. It's a beautiful coffee from a women-led farm by Vava Ngwenyi in Nyeri, Mount Kenya. And it's delicious, just like a rich, dark chocolate, red berries flavor. You can drink it both without milk and with milk. And if you want to order some, you can jump on coffeebeansdelivered.com.au and pick some up there. We ship all over the world.
Yeah, and if you want to trawl through our YouTube, we've also done a full review about the farm and about Vava as well. So if you want something to watch, head over there and have a look at it as well.
Amazing woman. Really, really inspirational. All right, so coffee news. What's happening in the world this week? We have heard that there was an event, the SEA Milan Coffee Expo, World Coffee Expo in Milan. And there were a couple of things that we thought were pretty interesting. A couple of the products that were new products that won the Best New Product awards. And the first one we're going to talk about is the ARCO 2-in-1 grinder from Goat Story.
So this is the grinder where you can pull it apart, and it's a hand grinder as well as a tabletop grinder as well.
Yeah, it's really unique, and I actually think, I'll bring it up here on the screen so you guys can see it. Basically takes the Commandante grinder and say the Weber key grinder and combines them into a modular grinder. So you want to go camping in the holidays, take your hand grinder, you get the crank and the arm, and you can take that away with you camping, or you want to do it with your espresso machine at home. You can put it together very easily. It sits together perfectly, and we'll talk about the specs of it. I'm really intrigued in this. So it won the Best New Product at the SEA Milan. Let's have a look at the specs of it.
Looks pretty. It's
really nicely designed.
It looks very nice. It looks like it's got a very small footprint.
To tell you a bit of the specs, it's about 280 mil high, so it's a pretty small unit, sitting about 30 centimeters. It's a doseless grinder, so it actually comes with a little basket underneath that holds up to 50 grams. So you weigh it, dose it in that, pop it in the top, and then grind it. And it's got, well, this is where I am a bit confused. It says it has one place says 180 grind settings from Turkish to cold brew. Another one says 240, that's on the SEA site, says 240 grind settings. And then 120 on their YouTube video. So I have no idea if someone out there actually has it, or one of the tech people from Goat Story can actually tell us exactly what it is. But what my understanding is, there's 30 clicks around, and there's 4 different steps. So that equates to 120. So that may be not enough to really dial in your espresso grind, although it says it's perfect for going straight into the precise grind for your espresso, which is obviously the most variable. I just don't know if that's enough. Every step is supposed to be 6 microns difference, but I would like to get my hands on one to be able to try it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, like, I'm always worried when a grinder can say that it can do Turkish to cold brew, right? So like, you look at the fellow Ode and what it did to everyone with this beautiful stepless sort of motor, and it didn't give enough control. If not, it couldn't get to espresso grinds, right? So
yeah, even with the replacement
burrs, it
doesn't work as well.
It just couldn't, and as you said, it doesn't give you enough control on that end of the spectrum. I mean, I drink lots of coffee all different ways, AeroPress through my Flair. I love my cold brew as well, but am I buying a grinder to service all of them? Or am I buying a grinder to service the more fussy one, right? The one that needs more adjusting.
Yeah. But you have a Comandante.
I do, and that stays at the same number, or one or two around for the flare.
That has a click system.
It does.
So how do you find that compared to, say, the Mythos, which is stepless? You can really hone in micro adjustments to really just get you the exact precise grind size every morning, depending on the weather and the age of the coffee.
Well, I think that the Comandante's doing the same thing of it's servicing anything that you want, right? So there isn't, on the base kit, there isn't really enough to properly dial it in. You can get, I think it's called the red kit or the X kit that gets you 60 instead of the 30, but it's still a single dose, zero retention. There's not much that can go wrong at that point. And the Mythos with the big hopper and stuff like that, the weight factors into it. If you don't have a full hopper, the dosage can be wrong. The difference between...
and we're adjusting it all the time.
Oh, all the time.
Throughout the day, 6 o'clock, we'll set it. By 7 o'clock, we have to adjust it. And then by 9 o'clock, 9:30, after you're putting a lot of coffee through it and the weather's heated up, adjusting again.
I'll never have to change my Comandante, if not one or two.
Yeah.
I'm amazed about, after everything that I said, the EK does it well. The EK43, it services everything and gives you that control.
Yeah.
But, that's $5,000. How much does this cost?
Well, so we've got the pricing here. It looks like it's going to be starting at 385 British pounds. So that's $475 US, which is about $700 Australian. So it's a cheaper grinder than, say, your Niche Zero, another really popular doserless and hopperless grinder. The other ones, which are the Weber Key, which is very similar, and then Comandante is only a hand grinder,
and that's $500 anyway.
Yeah.
If unless you get the walnut, that's for $700 to get both. That's really good, but then your $500, we found the Comandante is worth it.
Yeah.
And it's built great, and it's got those patented technologies. $700 for both. Is it going to be a Baristas SETI 270?
Yeah.
Right? Is it going to rattle apart when you grind it?
It'd be interesting to see. It's a low RPM, so it's 360 RPM revolutions per minute, which is relatively low considering that the EK43 is about 1500 RPM. One of the beautiful things about the EK is that it was super consistent. And there is a little bit of retention from the EK43, but it's minimal. It's definitely not as much as, say, on the Mythos or, say, the Breville grinders. With this apparently has zero retention as well.
I think the website said nearly zero retention.
I'm bringing it up. So there's a lot of questions I feel with this.
I saw it. I was reading over your shoulder.
Oh yeah, near
zero grind retention.
Yeah.
That's ambiguous.
Yeah. So we'd have to test it out, and if anyone has got any of it and has tested this out, the pre-orders started sending in. They start shipping in July. So no one.
Does it say what? So burrs and stuff aside, the connection point between the hand grinder and the base point.
Yeah.
Is that magnets? Is that a click system? Is it in it goes twist and lock, or how does it attach?
Yeah, it actually has here. Here we go. So it's got an aluminium unishaft, a 10mm steel shaft, twin ball bearings. I'm not an engineer, so that doesn't really make much sense to me. I do understand the burrs though. It's a 47mm outer conical burr and a 32mm internal conical burr. So really quite small, which obviously correlates with the low RPM. But they're nitrided steel, so they've been, the blades have been done similarly to the Comandante
it's exactly
with that
the same
nitrogen.
as the Comandante.
Yeah.
Just a different word.
Yeah. And that's supposed to get it just to keep it more consistent, more sharp, longer. But it doesn't say how the connection works. I know you said a theory. You had a concern that if you were using it on and off daily, like say you wanted to have your coffee at home to begin with, but then you're taking your AeroPress to work or out, you'd want to take your hand grinder with you. Is that action of
I just think
putting it together and taking it off.
The base looks magnetic.
Yeah.
And the Weber key also has magnetic attachment system. So if it's magnetic, I think that would be fine. But imagine if it was that sort of twist and lock and there was a bean or a grind sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it comes up, crunch, it's essentially
And
gone.
is that part replaceable? Is that crank, which might wear down, I'm guessing it's a octagonal or hexagonal sort of arm. If that crank wears down over time, does it then not slot in and falls off, or does it just have to be replaced? And can you replace it? So there's a lot of questions there.
One solid axle all the way through, like from the grinder into the part. So that would obviously have, I think it has a little hex head sort of bit. What if you didn't connect it properly? What if it's slightly jar? So now it starts rattling, starts breaks, strips it. How many parts are readily available to go?
So I want to get my hands on one. I'd love to, if Goat Story are watching and they want to send us one or contact us, I'd love to review it just to see. It does look like it fits a lot of the market because we are more mobile now with CoffeeZ, and we do have a lot of that home barista. We just want a small setup, but we want consistency.
Single dose.
Single dose, and then be able to have it on a go. It sounds like it fits perfectly a lot of the people in the marketplace.
If this works,
and the price point.
If it works, it sold me. I'd grind that every day of the week.
And a quick, just an overview of the Goat Story, because that's the company's name and how they started. The Goat Story it's a Slovenian company, and they started on Kickstarter with the goat mug, which is that horn, which you just hang onto your hip, and as you're driving around or riding around on your bike or whatever, it won't fall off. It's completely sealed, 100% leak-proof, and drinks it. I don't know how practical it is. You can't put it down on the table, unfortunately, like that, because it lays down. However,
have to scull your coffee instead. Just finish it in one.
And the name Goat Story obviously came from the myth, the legend of the goat herder, and then watching the goats eating the coffee, and that is where they got their name from. But they've released a lot of different products. These are beautiful engineers. They do beautiful product designs. They do a cold brew, and they've got the goat, the mug. And now this ARCO one. So that I really love their design aesthetic, and sounds like the engineers are quite interested in getting that consistency and that perfect espresso, perfect coffee, whatever you have.
I mean, I'm in the market for a new espresso grinder. I've been looking at the Eureka Mignon. I think that's the best price point. I mean, I a couple of $100 extra. Might just get a hand on that when it does come out. So,
all right, now we're going to move on to another winner from the same show, which is called Coffee Me Up. CoffeeZ Inc. in Korea made this. It's a duo tamper and Weiss distribution tool in one. They already have a Weiss distribution tool and tamper in one called the Duomo the 8. But this one looks a little bit more designer and maybe more compact. I'm going to bring it up for you.
Sort of look, picturing this sort of Mad Max style tamper, where instead of a flat bottom, it's just got spikes on the bottom.
Yes, it basically does. So as you can see here, it's basically a flat palm tamper with an adjustable depth, so you can actually make it go higher and lower depending on what basket you're using and how far down you want to tamp. My problem is here, so...
It looks like a trap of a video game or something. It looks like you stepped on a plate and Indiana Jones.
Yes, and spikes to come out and killed you.
Come up and got you.
So my problem with this, it looks beautiful, and I can see why you might want to, because obviously it's just reducing the number of steps in your workflow. So rather than tamping or distribution and then tamping, you can get it all in one. My problem, and it doesn't really, I've struggled to find a lot of information on this. It looks like it's just using normal pins, like the normal WDT acupuncture pins.
That are just recessed.
So they're just they're just rotating around. So they're not getting the edges.
You can't get an angle on it.
Yeah, you can't get into every corner. And even in the videos that they showed how they used it, they showed it in two glass sort of fake baskets, without and with using it. I could see when they put it in and they turned it, it did not touch. There was like a millimetre or 2 millimetres around the edge of the basket which didn't get distributed at all. So it's really only that stuff in the centre that's getting moved. So I don't know how good. I know when I'm using my WDT that I need to get into every angle because there's little clumps that just sit in the right in the edges of the basket, and you want to get all of that out and slowly bring it up to the top to get a perfect distribution.
The temp would contain it though, right? So I'm assuming you have a little coffee catcher when you do it, so it doesn't make a mess.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm assuming if you put that temp on it,
it's capturing it all.
It is not making a mess. So there is some benefit.
Yeah, you don't have to put the coffee catcher ring on top. You don't have to do that first.
Less things on your bench or in your drawers.
Yeah, it's a 3-in-1 almost tool. So I'd love to try that again. I'm not 100% convinced that this is a tool that everyone would need.
Looks well made. It looks solid.
Yeah. And also, there's very little information about CoffeeZ because it's all in Korean, their website. And I'm not sure why they went from the Duomo, the 8 to this one, because they effectively do the same thing, just one's a little bit more compact. And I guess the adjustable depth is probably a bonus.
The other one? The one that looks like R2D2.
Yeah, it looks like, what's that, BB-8?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that's another one that won. The final one that we're going to talk about from the winners, there's quite a few. There's Monin had a brown sugar cane syrup as well.
How long does it go for? This, like, the whole...
It's 3 days. It's like the mice here. Okay, basically, it will be the same as the Melbourne International Coffee Expo here.
So there must be a lot of different sort of things.
Areas, it's got a range. So the fact that Monin won Best New Product for a syrup, for me, that is like, well, just get cane sugar. It takes 2 extra seconds to put it in. You don't need to do the syrups. None of the syrups I've ever tried are any good.
Like syrups to begin with.
Yeah,
that's
right. You should be able to drink coffee without sugar now. I think it's so sweet. Unless you're drinking Robusta, you don't need to add sugar. So the last item that I want to talk about that won at the Milan was by Frank Buna, the Latte Art Factory.
Buna?
What did I say?
Buna.
Frank Buna. Latte Art Factory, which is an automatic milk frother. In fact, they go as far to say it's not a milk frother, it's a barista, barista, basically your assistant barista there for you.
Coming for our jobs.
Yeah. Which allows you to focus more on your customers because you're not having to worry about the milk. It is super fast, 1.5 litres in 60 seconds. That's insane. That, you just, compared to what we will do on the Cinesso, we'd make, 400 ml in about minute and a bit,
That's
bit over a minute,
depending on the drugs you're using. Maybe a bit less.
Yeah, so insanely fast. It's an under-counter, and it's an under-counter fridge, so you can have in 2 milks in there. So you could put an alternative in there if you wanted to run it with your full cream, or you could run full cream and skim. It also, you put the jug on there, it dispenses the milk. It actually angles the milk pitcher, so you get the same consistency of a normal barista holding the milk jug at the right angle, just getting that perfect texture. Apparently does alternative milks beautifully.
I was about to ask, are there settings for, no, I'm putting almond milk in this time, and it knows, because there's a lot of sort of trial and error work to a barista that, an experienced barista will know that an almond milk steams different to a full cream. A coconut milk doesn't steam like...
Insane.
And that only comes with years of doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it have a button that it will go, no, I'm going to be gentle with my soy milk, otherwise it's going to split?
Yeah, I think there are many settings on there. I can't see how many it says. It has like multiple, whether you're doing cappuccino, latte, flat white. It does look like it, because it does talk about alternatives, that it might be able to adjust it based on the type of milk. I'm not sure. Because whose milk is it?
Yeah, who's
Which
putting
brand?
that information in?
Yeah, exactly. Is that only for Happy Soy Boy, or is it for Milk Lab? Who knows?
Both two very different almond milks.
Completely
Completely different.
So my big concern about fridges and with milk dispensers like this is there are obviously the things that I don't want to talk about, which are things getting yucky underneath. You get a little bit of off milk sitting in there and spilling out onto the edges. It can get pretty horrible. I'm not going to go into details because I don't want to make people at home feel sick. But this is a real problem that a lot of these milk dispensers don't talk about it. The other ones that we've talked about is been the Perfect Mousse.
Yep.
And that doesn't use milk. So you actually put the milk in the milk jug and it steams that, as opposed to Uber Milk, which again is an under-counter one, press a button. They're the ones that you run into problems with. I prefer the idea of the Perfect Mousse because you control the milks. Okay. You don't have to, we have 5, 6 different milks.
It's like changing a keg over
Yeah.
at a public bar, right? Like, if anyone has gone in the back room or the downstairs cellars, it stinks.
Yeah.
It's like sticky and yuck. And that's just beer.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was milk.
Milk is awful.
Gross.
And these aren't cheap products. So I don't know how much the Latte Art Factory is. It doesn't say. I'm assuming it's going to be similar to the Perfect Mousse, which is about 10,000 Australian dollars, about 6,000, 7,000 US dollars. I just think if you're going to buy a fridge that's going to dispense milk, you're limiting yourself and you're asking for trouble, because you're going to buy 3 of them and get all your 6 milks in there. Just the Perfect Mousse for me, you just pour it into the cup, it just does the rest. And it recognizes the different cups, so you can put in a small jug or a big jug, and then you don't have to worry about carrying all the different lines of milk your fridge underneath.
How long does $10,000 work out that if you hired someone to train your staff?
Yeah,
right?
to
do that.
Yeah.
Where is that $10,000 going to come back and start being beneficial to your flow?
I guess in really high volume cafes where you need to do multiple different types of milks at the same time, but just because you've got a soy, then you've got an almond, then you've got a full cream, then you've got a lactose free, then you've got a macadamia, then you've got a coconut. Maybe in that sense where you've got so many different coffees to do.
I've done that. I've done 21 kilos of coffee in a shift, working on 2 LMs side by side. Yeah. And, on your own. On my own. And sure, I had some pretty bad,
How many milks did you run?
And we ran 2 soys, an almond, a coconut, and obviously full cream skinny.
Yeah, so lots.
Yeah, enough. Yeah. That, some of the practices weren't the best. I reckon if some specialty, if you watch them do it, you'd be like, nah, you're doing it wrong. But, there was still a flow. We were able to sit something on the, a jug and balance it.
Whilst you're doing your other things.
I don't see, you still have to set that up. It's not like the robot picks up the jug, pours it itself.
No.
Add a second person in. Add someone in next to it, and they can be a real buddy for that. I've just never been a fan of robots doing the milk.
Yeah.
Robots can make shots. I think that's really good.
A robot arm, obviously the technology is going to be there where they can pour the whole milk themselves with latte art. Now, I don't know what that's going to cost, probably $50,000, but that could be something useful, right? If you just give everything job for milk, you just keep doing that. Yeah.
Pouring is the hardest part. Seeing the milk bang, pass it and the robot goes, bang, does a majestic, jibby little, amazing thing like that. Yeah. Send it on its way.
Yeah, I think that's where I'd invest money as a cafe owner anyway. So that's it from Milan. Love to hear your thoughts. If anyone went to Milan and went to the show, that would be even better. Just pop a comment down below.
Or, if you went to a cafe and you saw a robot making your coffee, is that worth the same amount of money? Is that where the future needs to go? Let us know as well. As a barista myself, I would always say people are better.
I think
every single part. But hey, maybe people out there have different opinions.
And on that, I think as well, with coffee becoming more expensive and becoming more of a luxury, myself personally, I want to have that interaction with a human
100%.
Who can then talk to it. It becomes like this special connection with your barista. So if I'm paying $10 for a coffee every morning, I want that connection. I don't want a robot producing my coffee.
People spend more time with their baristas than they do their family. Yeah. I think. Every morning they're coming in.
That's right. It's your safety. Yeah. It's like your home away from home. So that's it for Milan. Of course, if you like this, give us a thumbs up, please, and let us know if this is something that you're interested in. I just thought it's really good to get multiple opinions, and we want to expand this down the track to have more people on the panel. Zooms, we want to talk to farmers, roasters, coffee people around the world to get their feedback as well. And I just really want to start covering the news of coffee a lot more. And if you stay tuned, we're going to do a latte art smackdown next month. We're going to cover a latte art smackdown, and so I just really want to create a new platform where people can go to experience what's happening in the coffee world every day, because there's so much, it's changing, the landscape is changing so fast.
We're in it, and we miss...
every day we miss things.
We miss something, and we're in it. We're looking for it.
Right, in other coffee news around the world, a Chicago-based coffee person has opened up a cafe called Viet5, which specializes in selling Robusta only, 100% Robusta Vietnamese coffee that their family, the owner is called Tuan Huynh, and he only sells the Vietnamese coffee that his family grows. So he's basically created an end-to-end, vertically integrated business.
In Vietnam or in...
growing on his uncle's farm in Vietnam.
That's cool.
Washed, processed, exported to the US, where he then is using a roaster, a contract roaster, but they're going to buy a contract. They're going to buy their own roaster. That's cool.
It's like very like farm to cup, or like paddock to plate.
Yes,
that you
exactly.
see in restaurants.
Yeah.
You don't get to see that.
But just Vietnamese style coffees. They're not doing espresso. They're just doing your Vietnamese style coffee on 100% Robusta.
I was going to say you almost have to have that sweet condensed
milk
with the Robusta.
To balance the Robusta out. I think.
I haven't. Apart from instant and other lower grade commodity grades, I've never had 100% Robusta.
Yeah.
I've never tried that.
Yeah. So it's really hard to sort of
blends
get in our world, because we look at specialty coffee and there really aren't many Robustas that are specialty.
Blends are rough enough as it is. Yeah. So maybe that's why I didn't. But it's interesting that they are using the Robusta. And I think that's really important to look at. There was that specialty Robusta. I'm not sure who was coming out with that, but a couple of new places are doing that. I think that's important moving forward.
Can we rely on Robusta moving forward? Because obviously we've trained people now that specialty coffee, Arabica, sweeter, more nuanced, but half the yield, half the caffeine, a lot more susceptible to leaf disease and climate change.
Altitude
Robusta,
as well.
Yeah, it has to be grown high altitude, so it does limit the places that it can grow. And, Robusta, on the other hand, high yield, higher concentration of caffeine. Yes, you sacrifice the flavour, but if coffee is going to soar through the roof, and we're going to find out soon from Brazil how much coffee is going to cost us, to see what their, Brazil produced the third of the coffees. Brazil produces a third of the entire world's coffee exports, so they really determine the price. If they have a small harvest in 1 year, then that pushes the price up around the world just because of supply and demand. So this could be an alternative. There's also Liberica. There's another species that they're trying to play around with, which has never really been used in a commercial sense. And I think there'll be a place for Robusta. I think if people are going to continue to drink milk coffees, a large proportion of people drinking milk coffees, then Robusta could work in there. I'm not sure 100% Robusta, but maybe the 20% blends might become better just to keep the costs lower. However, I'm a big sort of ambassador for high-end specialty coffee, and paying for it, because we aren't in the 90s anymore. We aren't trying to expect that coffee should cost $1 and you buy it from the servo, or you buy instant coffee, or you buy your Farmers Union iced coffee. I want the world to start to really treat coffee like you do craft beers, like you do your wines, like you do your spirits. And once we start getting our head around I could pay for a nip of nice whiskey, $26.
Oh, yeah. Standard.
Easy. Yeah.
I went on holidays just before. We went and did a trip in Tasmania. And if anyone knows anything about whiskies around the world, Tasmania is probably the best place in Australia to grow whiskey. And, you're looking at $26 to $30 for a 30ml serve.
Yeah.
There was a glass on the menu. It was a 20-year-old single malt, single cast. It you know, all the tasting notes sounded great. $210 for 30 ml.
Yeah.
$210 just for a glass.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish.
Yeah.
I wish I tried it. I wish I had the money to do that. I reckon that would be really good. But, you know.
But also, you know, to think of spending that much on a coffee is just unfathomable. Other than maybe Gesha, that's the only coffee that sort of people, it has enough buzzword around it that people go, oh, I want to try it. And most people I've given it to are disappointed because they're thinking, oh, it's going to taste like the Il Caramello, but like a billion times better because it's so expensive. And then they're like, oh, it tastes like tea. If I wanted a tea, I'll drink a tea. Right. So the appreciation isn't there for it yet.
There wasn't a point that my brain went, what is that? How dare you charge me this amount of money? I went, well, that must be a really nice glass.
Yep.
And I think people, they forget that coffee is so much going into it.
It's hard to produce.
Oh, it's almost impossible to produce. And the fact that they can is astounding. And they, you know, people turn their nose up and they think, what, $70, $80 a kilo? Oh, you're never going to get my sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's the same thing.
Well, look how big this tree is here. It hasn't produced a single cherry.
No.
And we've got another one outside that's gone like a small lot of cherries, but would be less than 100 grams. And then once you've stripped it of all of the cherry flesh and roasted it, you're probably looking at maybe 3 coffees, 2 coffees, if that. And that, that's taken years to grow into a tree that can bear cherries.
And that we've tried. And it is looking good today.
Yeah.
It won't be looking good tomorrow. Like, it is the
very finicky
thing.
So I just want the appreciation to be there for the level of quality that we now can have access to. So we shouldn't be dropping our prices or dropping our quality standards just to keep the prices in line with the consumer's thought of, oh, well, I'm not going to pay ever more than $5 a coffee.
So I think the Robusta and the introduction of that, I think, you know, you can have the industry going up with what it is as it should be, you know, what things should be paid for. But you are given that option of Robusta, a little bit heavier, a little bit, you know, lesser quality and stuff like that. That can be your $30 kilos. Yeah, that can be over there. You can buy a cheap house bourbon, or you can go out and the $210 a glass, right? There are options for everyone.
I mean, you're exactly right. You would not be able to find a $3 wine or a $3 beer, like anything.
I don't think you'd want to.
You wouldn't even want to drink a $3 wine. Yeah. But we still go, where's the cheapest place I can get a coffee? And that just needs to change. But good on there. If anyone wants to visit Viet 5, they are in 1116 West Madison Street in Chicago. And shout out to Tuan Hun. Hopefully it goes really well.
Anyone watching from America, please. I'd love for you guys to go there. Send us some photos of you being there. We'd love to even connect these guys there. You know, we can only do so much here in Australia. You guys over there, go out there and experience it for us. Let us know how you do, please.
And also, we're doing this pre-recorded, but eventually we want to do this live, and we want you to be able to message us so we can get your questions in. And as we interview people, maybe we can try and get some people on like Tuan and interview him and see what's going on the ground floor over there. So
honestly, love reading every comment that goes on our videos. Every single one. It just almost fills our day with happiness, right? Like we can get into work one morning and we'll have a new comment on YouTube and Ride goes and responds to every single one. It does. It makes our day. So
last but not least, we got a new product in today that we wanted to test. This is by the guys that did Happy Happy Soy Boy. They've now brought out an alternative almond called Happy Happy Almond Daddy.
Big shout out to the milkmen that brought us this. The guys over there, I think, changing the game of what milk delivery guys are doing. Incredibly consistent, brilliant customer service.
Very knowledgeable. These are all baristas.
If you're a cafe in Brisbane, milkmen every day of the week.
But let's talk about Almond Daddy. And, you know, a bit of change there. I don't know who they're appealing to. It's certainly not our cafe because we're every person. We're about including everyone from, you know, the people who want to drink the highest quality coffee to the people who just want a flat white and don't care. That's what we're about. And this doesn't really fit our branding, but, you know, we gave it a try and we wanted to test how good it tasted compared to what we already use at the moment, which is the alternative dairy company. We also do Milk Lab Almond as well. But we're moving more towards the alternative dairy because of their quality. It's just astounding.
The almond alternative milk industry has come leaps and bounds in the last, like, Milk Lab have been the major players.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, they're forever.
Right?
After Bonsai.
Like Bonsai for soy,
had the market
Milk
for soy.
Lab for almond.
Yeah.
And we had the Happy Soy Boy.
Yeah, for a while.
For a while, a really long time ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, we operate on taste in our cafe, and what we think tastes the best is what we serve, regardless of price, and that's our quality.
Yeah.
And so when Happy Almond Daddy released this, we were like, cool, let's give it a go. They've had a good product in the past. Let's see what they can do with the almond milk.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
No, I wasn't impressed at all. I mean, I'm not an almond drinker, so I didn't really go into it thinking that I knew how the perfect almond should be. We didn't do a blind test, but we did try it on this and the alternative dairy and the Milk Lab side by side to just compare the three. And this, for me, ranked the worst. And I think it did for everyone in our team.
Yeah.
It was bitter, like that bitterness that you get with almonds. It was just really bitter. Really, you described it as hollow. I think that's an accurate description there. It was
watery.
Just watery and empty. It didn't have any creaminess. When we tried the alternative dairy, it has just such creamy flavors, zero bitterness.
No.
It's got a velvety texture to it as well. This one just tasted watery. It was night and day for it, instantly. And I'm not even an almond drinker. I don't drink almond at all. I wouldn't say I even really enjoy almond, but I enjoyed the alternative dairy one.
100%.
This one I did not enjoy.
Steaming all three, making it for everyone. We tried to make it as consistent as possible for them. Steaming the Milk Lab and the alternate dairy was easy. It flowed. It had texture and microfoam to it, and it was pretty easy. That might be through the emulsifiers that added to the milk. This felt like steaming coconut milk. It felt like there was nothing in it. It heated up so quickly, and
Without stretching,
like, I really did struggle to get a nice pour on this. And you know, that might have been my fault. I don't think it is. I'm confident enough in my skill to say it wasn't my steaming. But hey, it might have been. Even if I did stuff it up, it was not even close. It wasn't even you could have steamed that one better, Liam. But it just didn't do it. Yeah. Didn't do it at all.
In terms of the ingredients, they looked pretty much the same. There wasn't that much differentiation between the two in terms of like protein, fats, carbohydrates, sugars, the main things that most people are looking for, especially when they're looking for health.
Didn't they add salt to this?
Yes, they actually added salt into this one.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know why.
No,
I couldn't taste it.
No, it didn't go, wow, that's nice.
No.
What a great addition.
Yeah, no, like when you add salt to caramel,
and you think,
you notice it, you go, this is a perfect combination. This one didn't do it for me like that.
No.
I'm sorry, like I do appreciate the colours. The colours are beautiful. I actually really love as a whole. I don't understand the character.
As much as it doesn't suit you, the artwork's kind of fun.
Yeah,
right?
it is fun. And and like obviously the explanation on the back, the little story.
It does
it stands out on the
big
shelf.
props to the artist that actually designed this, and as they've designed the whole packet. It is pretty. This is funny. I'd have this on a shirt. I'd have this on the back of the shirt every day of the week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have this in my cafe giving it to customers.
Yeah, not from a taste perspective anyway. And
No.
I would love to know who's that targeting. Is that a modern barista hipster? Yeah, he was in chains and get your little headband up there with the glasses. I mean, if I walked into a cafe and that was serving me coffee, I would just turn out and leave, because I don't want to be served by someone wearing sunglasses.
No. Too cool for school. Maybe
weird branding. I'd love to. I'm not a marketing expert, but I'd love to look at what their brand archetypes are. Are they elitist? I don't know.
Who knows?
But sorry if you're watching this, happy almond daddy people, because it doesn't win us over. Anyway, I think that's it for our first news segment. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up if you did, and let us know if you didn't. And if you want to hear more, you can always subscribe. That's helpful for us. No, but if you want to hear more, please let us know, because we would like to do this as an ongoing segment to talk about things in the news, and not just have my opinions, but have other professional opinions as well from all around the world. So
even leave us a comment. Let us know what Ride should be talking about in his next video. You know, at the end of the day, you guys are watching this.
Yeah.
What do you want to watch? Let us know. Even we might be able to answer a few questions in the next video. You know, it's all about that connectivity. Let us connect to you, and we can make the coffee world just a little bit better.
And as always, enjoy your brew.